Thank you, Dr. Amna. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir, loud and clear.
Are you able to hear me? Oh, great, great. No, you're quite right. I think, Bahram does need no introduction, as the father of IBC. In fact, one of our clients, I remember in a meeting when he was asked if he knows Bahram Vakil, he said, listen, if I'm in the field of restructuring, it's not insulting for Bahram if I don't know him. It's insulting for me if I don't know him. Bahram, I thought I should start the session by embarrassing a little bit. So there goes. Um, in terms of, I'm conscious that, the session is stretched out much longer than some of the attendees might have hoped. So what I'll do is I'll focus on some of the key issues which I wanted to bring up. And there are really three issues. There is a lot of talk about how IBC has done very well. It's changed credit culture. It's done a wonderful job at, kicking India up in the ease of doing business rankings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, there are lots of statistics to either back that or crash that, as the case may be, depending on who you talk to. But having one of India's foremost restructuring practitioners with us this evening, I thought I might ask him for an illustration, an example in the last 2 or 3 years he's seen of how the IBC has really worked in practice. Something he's seen which has made him stop and think that in his 40 years of practice, this is a wow moment for Indian restructuring. Bahram, may I stop there and request you to jump in on that?
Yeah, sure. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Nilang. Thanks to everyone. I can't move too much forward. I think, what's happened because of the late hour, I'm alone in the office now, and I don't know how to use the Zoom function. Sorry. But Nilang, is it just two of us? Have we lost two of the panelists?
We have lost the other panelists because of the timing, unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. So I don't know, it's late for India, and there were some panelists for whom it may be even later in the audience. So we'll keep this very, very brief. As Nilang says, I always like to go through 3 parameters so that I don't bring in my bias, because we've been involved with this right from the inception. So for time, which is the most critical, because recovery and time are very closely correlated. I think from 6-7 years, we may be down to, even if you take the worst case, IBBI website has been fantastic in keeping track of this. And I have to admit, I haven't seen it in the last month or so, but I'm sure it's not crossing 400 days. So let's take it that from 6 years, you are down to 400 days on an average. We have slipped, there's no doubt about that. That's a big room for improvement, but it shows how far we have come. In terms of cost, which also has become one of the issues, we have gone from 9% to 1%. I don't think it gets better than that. And I dare say it's probably the most cost-effective mechanism anywhere in the world. I don't know. I would love to be corrected whether there are countries that do better than 1%. And on recovery, we were at an abysmal 22%, and now we are double that. Huge room to grow. The best jurisdictions I know are in the 80s. So we need to double once again. But as I said, that's directly related to the time taken. And Nilang, wow moments, starting with one of the very early ones. We all know, whether it's SR, whether it's Bhushan, we all know how successful that has been, especially given that the cycle turned. And also it has been super successful for the bidders, and it has been super successful for the banks. Because if you look at how much the first bids were, and I dare say even the bank's expectation, to where they finally reached, I think those were incredible achievements. And they were definitely wow moments. There was also, of course, some where full debt was paid back, like Binani, but those are rare cases. And as you know, you're sitting at an airport right now. I don't know how much longer you have for your flight, but certainly today is a wow moment, because thanks to Nilang and the team, we got instructed for all of those of you who are still in the audience. a happy story in terms of speed. We got instructed on Tuesday, and the IBC petition was admitted today. So that's pretty much as good as it gets anywhere.
That's right, Bahram. 4 days from instructions to admission for two very large finance companies into IBC is phenomenal. Honestly, Bahram, I think in your international conferences, you can possibly mention it as the fastest in the world. Not something India is often associated with. So that's great. Bahram, maybe one other question what I might ask you is, there's a lot of made articles in the media about how the IBC is giving very poor payouts. There was talk about Videocon and a couple of other cases where they just said, listen, the IBC is failing. It's a crony process. It's giving pennies to the pound, cents to the dollar, and therefore it needs to be relooked. But my question to you, Bahram, and I have my answer, but it'd be great for the audience to have yours. Is that the fault of the IBC, or is that the fault of the timing by which the company is brought into IBC?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's a combo of factors. IBC is not a magic wand. It's if the assets are intrinsically of low value, there's nothing IBC can do. It can't create wealth out of nothing. So that's the first perspective we have to keep. And the second one, of course, as you have rightly said, even if they are good assets and you allow them to deteriorate, then you've just destroyed value. So the longer you take to start the process, the longer you take in the process, all that destroys value. And there are some that have just been there for a long time and come in destroyed. So I think it's very, very case specific.
Yeah, the example I like to use is where you buy a stereo system, at full price, overpriced. You bring it home, it doesn't work. You don't call the service center, you never fix it. It stays in some godown for 3 years, and then you call the Agarwal and you sell it to him. And you say, listen, I bought it for 10,000 rupees, I'm getting only 50 rupees. But that's your fault. You overpaid for it. You didn't service it, you didn't repair it, you kept it in a dirty godown, and then you're selling 50 rupees. It's your fault. It's not the fault of the Bhangarwala. But sorry, coming then on to a couple of cases, Bahram, which as you know are a pet peeve and some of our other partners. One is, Bahram, the case of India Resurgence. And that, Bahram, I felt very strongly about, because that case in the Supreme Court has suggested that no matter what the value of your security is as a secured creditor, as long as all secured creditors are getting the same payout, that's fine. And to me, that's critically against the credit call made by an individual creditor. Because if I, 10 years ago, when I lent to a company, took security over the excellent asset, and Mr. B took security over rubbish asset, why is it that my payout and his payout should be the same? And how does that make any commercial sense? Why isn't it that the court should say that my value of security being more means I should get paid out more? Now, I know, Bahram, you have worked in the Insolvency Law Committee to lay out principles to bring out clarity on this topic. But just maybe a thought on this case, Bahram, if you would.
Yeah, sure. I just don't want you to miss your flight, Nilang, and lose the very few participants we have left. Because I think we almost left with a handful. So I think that that's what you're talking about is super crucial, because that will just derail the banking system and the security system we have. So, and it's extremely unfortunate also because, as you are aware, the Supreme Court has looked at this and settled it, if I'm not mistaken, a few times, not just one time. So this is one of the lacunas, where people say, what can we change? For all the levels, the judiciary, settled law, we should not go on rehashing. And frankly, given the time issue, we should also, they should be politely impatient to go on hearing arguments of issues that have been settled. For example, if the Supreme Court has settled it, NCLAT and NCLT should be, as I say, politely impatient and not waste time. And even if it's a super senior counsel, allow them to argue for 2, 3 days. And the same with all the highest respect for the Supreme Court. If there is settled law, I mean, don't play around with it. It's done and dusted. So I know there are.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely. But if I may close out with, I know with what is one of my favorite topics, and I think yours too, given that you are again on the committee, pre-packs and pre-packs for large companies, not only MSMEs but large companies. I see Bahram as something which will fix the missing piece in the overall restructuring sphere, Bahram, because today we have the IBC which works very well, and lenders are keen for it, but promoters are not. Obviously, because they lose the company. They have competition in the bidding process. It takes a year of potential embarrassment for them. But with the pre-pack, we may fix all of that, and finally we may have a process which both the lender and the borrower may be keen on. Are you waiting with bated breath, Bahram, for pre-pack to come along and solve a few more cases?
No, I cannot agree with you more. I absolutely agree with you. It was just that the idea was that you flip it around. In IBC, we started with the 12 largest, which normally for a new law to be hit with the largest and most complicated cases takes some doing. And I think we did it pretty well as a country. So here the idea was follow the more conventional path, start with the smaller cases. Also, of course, tragically, the MSME sector has been hit so hard by this awful COVID period. So it had a double benefit that you help those that need it the most, and you learn from that and then make the tweaks and then open it up for everybody, as you say, because it can be really helpful and swift. So I just hope it's used more at this stage, and so that we can get to phase 2 sooner than later.
Got it. Thank you, Bahram. Thank you very much, and thank you to the League Leader team and the organizers for having us on board. Apologies to the audience for keeping you so late.
Thanks so much. Thank you.